Welcome or welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Thursday, August the 8th, and we are here to look at the new releases being set into the wild this week. Every day of the week, we look at a different genre being released. On Thursdays, we look at fantasy and science fiction. On Mondays, it's cozy mysteries. Tuesdays, it is mysteries and thrillers. Wednesdays, it is romance. Thursdays, fantasy and science fiction. Fridays, Freeform Friday, we look at whatever I want to look at. Some things, sometimes it's leftovers from earlier in the week. Sometimes it's different genres that we didn't get to, and so forth. Quick announcements. I don't have any. Oh, I do have sprints tonight. It's Thursday. We have sprints tonight at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. They go for 2.5 hours. I do them 3 times a week, every Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and then on Saturday afternoons at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. All right. I think that's it for announcements. Let's jump in. James Corey has a new one in the Expanse world. The Mercy of Gods. Oh, actually, this is a first and a new. Oh, a new series called The Captives' War. How humanity came to the planet called Anjin is lost in the fog of history, but that history is about to end. The Carracks, part empire, part hive, have waged wars of conquest for centuries, destroying or enslaving species across the galaxy. Now they are facing a great and deathless enemy. The key to their survival may rest with the humans of Anjin. Caught up in academic intrigue and affairs of the heart, David Alcor is pleased just to be an assistant to a brilliant scientist and his celebrated research team. Then the Carrack ships descend, decimating the human population and taking the best and brightest of Anjin society away to serve on the Carrack's homeworld, and David is swept along with them. They are dropped in the middle of a struggle they barely understand, set in a competition against the other captive species with extinction as the price of failure. Only David and a handful of his companions see past the Darwinian contest to the deeper game that they must play to survive, learning to understand and manipulate the Carracks themselves. With a noble but suicidal human rebellion on one hand and strange and murderous enemies on the other, the team pays a terrible price to become the trusted servants of their new rulers. David Alcor is a simple man swept up in events that are beyond his control and more vast than his imagination. He will become the champion of humanity and its betrayer, the most hated man in history and the guardian of his people. This is where his story begins. I don't know. There's something about the word hive. It turns me off right away. Bugs. Beth Rivas has a new one. Full Speed to a Crash Landing. First in Chaotic Orbits series. Only 192 pages. So if you want a quick read. High-octane sexy space heist. Ada Lamar may have gotten to the spaceship wreck first, but looters' rights won't get her far when she's got a hole in the side of her ship and her spacesuit is almost out of air. Fortunately for her, help arrives in the form of a government salvage crew, and while they reluctantly rescue her from certain death, they are not pleased to have an unexpected passenger along on their classified mission. Plus, she's consuming more air and food than what they were allotted. Anyway, but Ada doesn't care. All that matters to her is enjoying their fine food and sweet, sweet oxygen until Ryan White, the government agent in charge, starts to suspect that there's more to Ada than meets the eye. He's not wrong, but he's so pretty that Ada is perfectly happy to keep him paying attention to her, at least until she can complete the job she was sent to pull off. But as quick as Ada is, Ryan might be quicker, and she may not be entirely sure who's manipulating who until it's too late. They are calling this a novella. T. Kingfisher has a new one. Hi, Helen. Good afternoon. How has your day been? I'm just getting started. Sources comes to call by T. Kingfisher. Cordelia knows her mother is unusual. Their house doesn't have any doors between rooms. There are no secrets in this house, and her mother doesn't allow Cordelia to have a single friend, unless you count Falada, her mother's beautiful white horse. The only time Cordelia feels truly free is on her daily rides with him. But more than simple eccentricity sets her mother apart. Other mothers don't force their daughters to be silent and motionless for hours, sometimes days on end. Other mothers aren't evil sorcerers. When her mother unexpectedly moves them into the manor home of a wealthy older squire and his kind but keen-eyed sister Hester, Cordelia knows this welcoming pair are to be her mother's next victims. But Cordelia feels at home for the very first time among these people, and as her mother's plans darken, she must decide how to face the woman who raised her to save the people who have become like family. That feels very dark. Oh, good. Dance of the Starlit Sea by Kiana Crystal. Hades and Persephone meets Phantom of the Opera. Lila Rosalie arrives at her aunt's cottage with dashed dreams. For years, she pushed herself to become the perfect ballerina her parents would approve of, but after collapsing on stage, she snapped and lashed out violently. Now exiled to Luna Island with its sparkling blue waters and rose-covered boutiques, excuse me, Lila struggles to believe that a girl like her, a natural disaster, deserves good and gentle things. As the islanders gear up for their beloved tradition, the Angel of the Sea pageant, Lila vows to remain on the sidelines, but the more she learns about the island's lore, the more she grows suspicious. Luna Island was nothing more than a failed fishing village before angels supposedly came and blessed them with abundance. The pageant is a competition, of course, to seek a high priestess for their commune. To win is to be loved and adored by all, the ultimate blessing. And Narcissus. Okay. However, the Angel of the Sea is supposed to reign for 7 years, and the previous winner only reigned for one. Something is haunting the island, throwing off the balance the pageant ensures. And as an eerie voice calls to Lila, drawing her closer to the ocean, to its depths, she worries it's haunting her, too. That needed an apostrophe. The only way to discover what's really going on and protect herself is to win the pageant. Of course. But how can a monstrous girl like her ever hope to be crowned by angels? By cheating, girlfriend, cheating. The Dead Cattail Assassins by P. Jelly Clark. The dead cattail assassins are not cats, nor do they have tails, but they are most assuredly dead. Aveen the Eviscerator is skilled, discreet, professional, and here for your most pressing needs in the ancient city of Talabisi. Her guild is strong, her blades are sharp, and her rules are simple. Those sworn to the matron of assassins, resurrected, deadly, wiped of their memories, have only three unbreakable vows. First, the contract must be just. That's above Eveen's pay grade. Second, even the most powerful assassin may only kill the contracted. Eveen's a professional. She's never missed her mark. The third and the simplest, once you accept a job, you must carry it out. And if you stray, a final death would be a mercy. When the festival of the Clockwork King turns the city upside down, Eveen's newest mission brings her face to face with a past she isn't supposed to remember and a vow she can't forget. The Empire Wars by Akana Phoenix. Koa, who was born feral in the North Transatlantic wilds, has just been captured. Now Koa is subject to public humiliation and execution in a gruesome spectacle known as the Great Hunt. If participants die in the Great Hunt, their entire family will be executed in front of everyone. The nationalist regime, known as the Allied Force, will not rest until all foreigners are exterminated. Koa's best hope of survival might be Princess Ife, born of privilege but newly married into the authoritarian lineage. Her riskier choice is an alliance with a gorgeous, cunning fellow participant marked as a traitor to his militarized nation. Koa entangles herself with the captivating young man, but soon finds he could be her ultimate downfall. Dot, 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 dot. And the tagline is Glory Before Fear. The Girl with No Reflection by Keisha Chow. Princess Yue believes in love once upon a time. Yet, when she's chosen to wed the crown prince, Ying's dream of a fairy tale marriage quickly fall apart. Her husband-to-be is cold and indifferent, confining Ying to her room for reasons he won't explain. Worse still are the rumors that swirl around the imperial palace, whispers of 7 other royal brides who, after their own weddings, mysteriously disappeared. Left alone with only her own reflection for company, Ying begins to see things, strange things, movements in the corners of her mirror, colorful lights upon its surface, and when on the eve of her wedding she unwittingly tears open a gateway, she is pulled into a mirror world. This realm is full of sentient reflections, including the enigmatic drinking game. Mirror Prince. Unlike his real-world counterpart, the Mirror Prince is kind and compassionate, and before long Ying falls in love, the kind of love she's always dreamed of. But there is darkness in this new world too. It turns out the two worlds have a long and blood-soaked history, and Ying has a part to play in the future of them both. And the brides who came before Ying, by the time they discovered what their role was, it was already too late. This Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings, first in a series. It is a duology set in Jazz Age Harlem. It's 1926, and Reapers, the once human vampires, I'm out, with a terrifying affliction, are on the rise in New York. But the Saint family's thriving Reaper hunting enterprise holds reign over the city, giving them more power than even the organized criminals who run the nightclubs. 18-year-old Elise Saint, home after 5 years in Paris, is the reluctant heir to the empire. Only one thing weighs heavier on Elise's mind than her family obligations, the knowledge that the Harlem Reapers want her dead. Layla Quinn is a young Reaper haunted by her past. The Reapers have existed in America for 3 centuries, created by New World atrocities and cruel experiments. Layla becomes one just 5 years ago. The night she was turned, she lost her parents, the protection of the Saints, and her humanity, and she'll never forget how Elise Saint betrayed her. But some Reapers are inexplicably turning part human again, leaving a wake of mysterious and brutal killings. When Layla is framed for one of these attacks, the Saint Patriarch offers her a deal she can't refuse, to work with Elise to investigate how these murders might be linked to shocking rumors of a Reaper cure. Once close friends, now bitter enemies, Elise and Layla explore the city's underworld, confronting their intense feelings for one another and uncovering the sinister truths about a growing threat to Reapers and humans alike. Seems like a lot of books are about like that. Until the Last Page by Chantal Gadori. Every good fairy tale begins with once upon a time, or they're supposed to at least, but for 25-year-old Josephine Hart, her once upon a time began with her literally crash landing inside a book of fairy tales and nearly crushing a frog, who was actually a prince. An annoying, snarky frog prince named Aneurin, seeking the kiss of true love to break his curse. He vows that if Joe agrees to help him find his princess, he'll get her home. Yeah. With every turn of the page, their adventure leads them deeper into fairy tales familiar to Joe. Through their journey, they discover that despite their initial clashing, they're both exactly what each other needs. It is only when they encounter a devious man with a talent for spinning straw into gold that they realize just how quickly their plot can take an unexpected twist. Michelle Sagara has a new one. Book 18. All this one says 19. We have conflicting information. Either way, it was published this week. This is called Cast in Atonement. In the city of Elantra, only one holds the key to peace or eternal darkness. At the end of 3 long wars, Bellas Deo is the last of her kind, the sole surviving female dragon in the city of Elantra. When she appears one evening on the doorstep of her former roommate, Corporal Kaelin Nia, her demeanor is dreadful, more so than what's expected of the dragon's notoriously tempestuous temperament. Kaelin's new roommate, Mrs. Erickson, is quick to see the reason for Bellas Deo's despair. The 8 ghosts of the dragon's dead sisters chained to her and unseen. That'll do it. Pleading for release, revenge, and above all, peace. That's just gross. Now Kaelin and Mrs. Erickson must embark on a perilous journey from the hollowed halls of academia to the depths of forbidden magic to confront the very essence of mortality itself. Can Kaelin help release the untapped power within Mrs. Erickson to save Bellas Deo's sisters, or will unlocking the past plunge the realm into an unfathomable darkness forever? Now this one, the cover to me was very weird. Ensnaring the Siren by Desiree M. Nicolai. As a rescue swimmer for the U.S. Coast Guard, Reed Kreutz has a healthy respect for the ocean and its dangers, but conducting search and rescue operations in heavy seas is just another Tuesday. That is until 2 high-profile cases bring him to Haven Cove, Maine, a small coastal town known for its vicious mermaids. While on a case, the crew he's meant to rescue is yanked into the deep, never to resurface again, and he's brought face to face with an amber-eyed mermaid, her lips red with blood. But there's more to her than stunning deadly beauty, and she leaves him alive with a message he can't ignore. Her kind are being hunted to extinction. Nereid and her merfolk kin are fighting for survival. While recovering from the brain virus that ripped apart their community, a new threat dwindles their numbers. A nefarious group of fishermen are targeting their kind, using their favorite delicacy to lure them in. Dead or alive, she will not be captured, not ever again. And yet, if she's to protect her own people without destroying the tenuous peace between merfolk and humankind, she will have to learn to work with the infuriating handsome human who tried to save her enemies. But it soon becomes clear that there's another threat to her life at sea, and it isn't any net, but the surface dweller seeking to ensnare her heart. Guardians of Dawn by S. J. Jones. Second, apparently, in a series. Monsters hide, love divides, the dead will rise. They say that when the world is out of balance, the Guardians of Dawn are reborn. Amy is in an exile, exiled from friendships, from ordinary magic, and from her own family. Amy is sent to the outermost west to care for her mentally ill father, whose rantings and ravings might actually spell out a dire prophecy. When her father is arrested for stealing from the sacred grounds of the castle, Amy must make herself of use to the presiding beast by finding a cure to the mysterious blight that is decimating their harvest. Guardian of Wood, there you are. Meanwhile, as signs of magical corruption arise throughout the morning realms and the threat of the mother of 10,000 demons looms ever larger, the tenuous peace holding the realms together begin to unravel. Jinjara, the newly empowered Guardian of Fire, realizes she might be out of her element. Her magic is no match for the growing tide of the undead, and she needs the Guardian of Wood to defeat the Ravenous, raising the the countryside. The two must journey to the root of the world in order to seal the demon portal there and restore balance in an increasingly chaotic world. Strangefolk by Ali Dyer. Lee left Craw Valley at 18 without a backward glance. She wanted no part of the generations of her family who tapped into the power of the land to heal and help their community. But when she abandons her new life in California and has nowhere else to go, Lee returns to Craw Valley with her children in tow to live with her grandmother, Belva. Lee vows to stay far away from Belva's world of magic, but when the target of one of her grandmother's spells is discovered dead, Lee fears that Belva's magic may have conjured something far more sinister. As she and her family search for answers, Lee travels down a rabbit hole of strange phenomena and family secrets that force her to reckon with herself and rediscover her power in order to protect her family in the town she couldn't leave behind. That's kind of a pretty cover. Oh, we have time for one more. The Coven by Harper L. Woods. Revenge. Raised but to be my father's weapon against the coven that took away his sister and his birthright, I would do anything to protect my younger brother from suffering the same fate. My duty forces me to the secret town of Crystal Hollow and the prestigious Hollows Grove University, where the best and the brightest of my kind learn to practice their magic free from human judgment. There is no whispered words here, no condemnation for the blood that flows through my veins. The only animosity I face comes from the beautiful and infuriating headmaster Alaric Grayson Thorne, a man who despises me just as much as I loathe him and everything he stands for. But that doesn't mean secrets don't threaten to tear the school in two. No one talks about the bloody massacre that forced it to close decades prior, only the opportunity it can afford to those fortunate enough to attend. Because for the first time in 50 years, the Coven will open its wards to the 13 promising students destined to change the world, if the ghosts of Hollow Grove's victims don't kill them first. We'll do this last one super quick. The Sunforge, second in the end song. The steel of Radovan is consumed by fire between. Stranded in its harbor is the crew of the Kopek, the survivors of a bioterror attack overseas. But they bear the scars. Their captain, Sibi, has gone missing, yet the newest weaver is fighting for control of her own mind, and the weaving powers are in a badly weakened state. To disable the technology that prevents the group from escaping, Sen and Kiata must plot their way through the ruins of the foreign capital, which is patrolled by a hostile militia, using wits alone. But to navigate through Radovan, Kiata will have to rely on her own history with the city, one she shares with a band of misfits dubbed Fort Tomorrow, and their leader Ari, a charismatic thief. Ari may hold the key not only to saving Radovan from complete annihilation, but the history of their world, which will come into play as the gods begin to unleash destruction on humanity and one another. And we did it. She did it. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow is Friday at last, and we'll take a look at, we had some leftovers, I believe, from either Monday or Tuesday, and then we'll see what else is out there that is interesting. Hope you guys have a very good Thursday. Hope you stop by Sprints tonight. They are at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I sometimes start a little bit earlier than that if traffic goes well and so forth, driving home from work. So I hope to see you soon. Hope you have a good Thursday. Hope you're reading good books. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.